Hi, I'm Larry Levin of the St. Louis Jewish Light, and welcome to another edition of Hey Hey 5 and 5. Our guest today is Rabbi Ze'ev Smason, the spiritual leader of Congregation Nusach Hari B'nai Zion. Welcome, and thank you for spending time with us.
My pleasure, Larry. Good to be with you.
Thank you. Rabbi, you lead an Orthodox congregation, yet your background was not rooted necessarily in an Orthodox tradition. In fact, you graduated at UCLA in political science, and then you went to Israel and studied for the rabbinate. And as you and I discovered early in our acquaintance, your wife and I grew up in the same Reform congregation in Chicago, so her origins were not traditionally observant. What were the sources of what might we call the sea changes in your respective lives?
Well, I think that the sea changes in anyone's lives, Larry, have to start at home, and that they do start at home, and certainly in both my experiences and my wife's experiences, it was the way that we were raised. And that although not being raised in a traditional Orthodox fashion, we were raised with traditional Jewish values. And I think perhaps most importantly, we were inspired to be good Jews and to be better Jews.
What would you say are things that Nusach Hari might consider unique or different about itself?
I think that one of the things that we look at as being our niche is that we're very welcoming to individuals from all religious and educational backgrounds, from all Jews who happen to be, and even non-Jews come around on occasion. But I think that many individuals in the community, Larry, find a comfort zone here at our congregation where we feel that we're very opening, very non-judgmental, and very accepting of individuals where they're at. So if an individual has a very thorough and extensive Jewish background, so they can find themselves comfortable here, or if a person doesn't know which way to hold the siddur, doesn't know which way to hold a prayer book, or doesn't know the difference between
whether to read up and down or left and right.
So they can find their way here, and everyone in between. So I think that that's something that we offer as a contribution to the community.
It's wonderful. You are, depending on how one looks at the economy, either fortunate or unfortunate to be nearing completion on your new congregational home in Olivet. You've described the building as creating a new kehillah or community, not simply a physical synagogue. What is it about the construction project that allows it to transcend bricks and mortar and add to what is already a very strong kehillah at Nusach Hari?
This synagogue in Olivet will be the first synagogue in Olivet in 6,000 years.
Which is incredible.
From the time of Adam, there's never been a synagogue.
You heard that right, folks. First one ever.
The first one. So it's a tremendous opportunity in an area that has a high Jewish population of individuals from a varied degree of backgrounds to be able to be literally in the backyards of some of those individuals. So that's something that for us is very exciting to move into a new neighborhood and to be able to service that new community and then to create a new spiritual community.
Speaking of community, I have been fortunate and blessed to have broken bread with your clan in Yokneam, Megiddo in Israel. And Israel clearly stands strong and central in your family's love and passion for Judaism. Certainly you and Chani have been contributors to that through your own passions. Yet, as we know from your own personal evolution, our own leanings don't necessarily control where our progeny end up. What is it about your children that has in their own hearts created such a fierce devotion to the Jewish homeland? And is that devotion singular, or does it vary among your children?
I'd like to say that I'd like to think that I could take some credit for it, but I have to give credit almost exclusively to my wife. She, when she was 16, together with her family, made Aliyah. And although they remained there for only a year, we were speaking about the planting of seeds. That planted the seed in her and her family that burned into the Smason family's collective DNA this longing for Israel and a love for the land of Israel that exists with each and every one of my children.
In this historic week with the death of Osama bin Laden, there's been a lot of internet chatter about whether and when it's okay to revel in the celebration of the death of an enemy. And this is a subject that is addressed in the Bible and in many other sources. What are your thoughts and feelings, both personally, on the event itself and also on the reactions you've observed from people?
Well, I think, Larry, that there's a difference between an enemy with a little e and an enemy with a capital E. An enemy with a little e is somebody who takes your parking space, right? A person who gets under your skin, or perhaps a person who's more noxious than that. But when we're dealing with an individual who's an enemy with a capital E, a person who's committed crimes against humanity, and I think perhaps could be described as an individual who epitomized evil,
Mm-hmm.
who was responsible for the deaths of tens of thousands of people and widows and orphans
Mm-hmm.
and people who are suffering. So Judaism says, as I understand it, that you can't really love good unless you hate evil.
Mm-hmm.
And just as we're to rejoice upon the positive accomplishments, we also rejoice in the elimination of evil and the destruction of the wicked.
Rabbi, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to meet today.
Larry, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much, and thanks for joining us for another edition of Hey Hey 5 and 5. Till next time, so long.